Hey, Flixit fam. Today, we're talking about Jumanji. Welcome to the jungle. These four high school buddies don't roll dice like in the original game. Instead, they pick characters in a video game, and bam, they're sucked right into the action. Each character has their own cool skills and weaknesses, and the jungle they're in. It's like a giant puzzle throwing crazy challenges at them. As they navigate this video game world, facing dangers and discovering their inner superheroes, it gets seriously intense. Can they beat the game and escape the wild Jumanji? Or will it be game over for them? Buckle up for a wild ride where surprises lurk around every pixel. And hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel for more movie fun. Let's dive into the jungle of Jumanji. Starts in 1996. A father brings home a Jumanji board game to his teenage son, Alex Vreek, after he finds it on a beach. Alex is uninterested in a board game, gravitating more towards video games. However, the Jumanji board game transforms into a video game cartridge overnight. The next day, Alex plays the new video game and finds himself sucked into the world of Jumanji and never returns. The boy's disappearance causes Alex's father to become despondent, who in turn lets the family home fall apart. The dilapidated home becomes known as Freak House for its neglected appearance. 20 years later, four Brantford High School students, Martha Capley, Bethany Walker, Spencer Gilpin, and Anthony Fridge Johnson, are placed into detention and directed to clean up the school's basement as punishment. Fridge discovers Alex's discarded video game system. Fridge and Spencer decide to play the game and invite the girls to join them. They each pick their characters and the game begins. However, each of them finds themselves being sucked into the video game. They reappear within a jungle in the video game world as their chosen avatar. Spencer becomes the muscular explorer, and archaeologist Dr. Smolder Bravestone. Fridge becomes zoologist Franklin Finber. Martha becomes commando and martial arts expert Ruby Roundhouse, and Bethany becomes Professor Shelley Oberon, a doctor of cartography and paleontology. Shelley is attacked and seemingly killed by a hippopotamus, but is quickly regenerated back, making Spencer soon realize that 3 marks on their arms denote their lives in the game, making them afraid that if they lose all 3, they will actually die. Nigel welcomes the avatars to Jumanji, while he drives the 4 to their next level, taking them into a backstory cutscene, and explains that the corrupt archaeologist, Bravestone's former associate Professor Russell Van Pelt, wants to obtain a jewel, the Jaguar's eye, which he previously stole, and was embedded with dark power that now allows him to telepathically manipulate Jumanji animals to his will. Nigel stole the jewel from Van Pelt and fled to seek aid from Dr. Bravestone and his companions. To escape the game, the players must return it to an enormous Jaguar shrine and call out the name of the game. After Nigel leaves the avatars to their fates, they discover each of their avatars also comes with special skills and weaknesses just before they are attacked by armed men on motorcycles. When Ruby uncovers a gunshot and evaporates before quickly regenerating back to life, figuring out that if they lose all 3, they will actually die permanently. Shelley notices that only his skills can read the map, which points them in the direction of the bazaar. Along the way, Spencer and Fridge start arguing about their differences back in Brantford, resulting in Finber shoving Smolder off the edge to his death and subsequent regeneration. The group arrive in the marketplace and begin interact with a merchant who tempted them with his bakery, and they automatically responded to regain their health. Finber ate some of his pound cake, which then caused him to lose a life through explosion. The group then meet a rhyming boy who points them towards their next clue inside a snake basket, where the clue is guarded by a lethal black mamba. To avoid anyone losing any more lives, they start working together to obtain the clue from the snake by defanging it, finding an elephant idol wrapped in a written note concerning climbing when seeing an elephant. Van Pelt's men then surround them with the intention of capturing or killing them to retrieve the Jaguar's eye, but the 4 evade them long enough, and they are rescued by Seaplane McDonough, who leads them under the bazaar, past a pit of crocodiles, and takes them to recuperate in a treehouse built by a previous player known as Alan Parrish. McDonough explains that a transportation shed houses vehicles that would make travel to the Jaguar shrine easier, but he stayed away from the shed after losing 2 lives. He is only on his last life, and the shed is guarded by Van Pelt's men. While the 5 make plans to enter the transportation shed to commandeer a helicopter and fly for the Jaguar shrine, they learn that the avatar pilot named Seaplane McDonough is actually Alex Vreek, who in turn learns that he has been in the game for 20 years. After Ruby fails at distracting due to the soldiers' automated responses, she defeats them easily with her dance fighting skills, enabling the 5 to pilot the evacuation chopper out of the shed towards the next level. As the 5 pilot through the canyon, Jumanji begins to emit its drumming again, signaling the arrival of a charging herd of albino rhinoceroses that try to impale the chopper until Smolder fixes the mechanisms to let them fly out of reach. The celebration is short-lived when Finbar dropped the jewel into the gorge when he leaned out of the chopper to throw up, forcing them to fly back and retrieve the jewel. Since the rhinos were encircling the jewel as if they were guarding it, Smolder came up with a plan which involved pushing Finbar out the chopper and making a distraction for the rhinos while he quickly retrieved the jewel. Smolder knew that since Finbar couldn't outrun the rhinos, he would be trampled to death and therefore respawn back into the game from a great height and could land safely in the chopper at an angle. After landing, Seaplane McDonough is bitten by a mosquito and succumbs to his injury, as it is fatal to his avatar, beginning to perish permanently until Shelley gives him CPR with his last spare life to prevent his true death. Arriving at the statue grounds, the five find an elephant statue that looks just like the idol and suspect that means they must climb the trees. Smolder takes that skills in his stride and makes for the trees to cover more ground, but loses his nerve from being startled by a screeching squirrel and falls to the ground, where he is mauled to death by a jaguar. Using tactics from Fridge's love of football, the players find themselves individually facing and evading Van Pelt's forces and Jaguar guards. Van Pelt himself apprehends Shelley at gunpoint to force Smolder to hand over the jewel until Finbar arrives riding an elephant he tamed with his zoology skills, easily taking out Van Pelt's jaguars, but retreats after Van Pelt fires a shot. The avatars figure out that the living elephant's appearance was the true meaning of their clue, and they use their resources and teamwork to distract Van Pelt. Ruby deliberately succumbs to her avatar's weakness and respawns with the jaguar's eye from the sky above, while Smolder climbs the shrine just in time to be handed the eye from Ruby and returns the jewel to the jaguar statue. After each of the five avatars call out, Jumanji the game is won, disintegrating Van Pelt into many rats and undoing the curse that fell upon the Jumanji realm. After the sky clears, Nigel returns to shake each of their hands and transport them back to their own world, albeit Spencer grew to form a relationship with Martha, likes himself being Smolder Bravestone, and was tempted to stay with her until she persuaded him to go back, deciding they should live their lives in Brantford like they have in Jumanji. With the game won, Jumanji transports the teens back to Brantford High School, reverting the four back to their former selves, but discover that Alex did not come back with them. On their way home, they find out that the Vreek house, once dilapidated with Alex's disappearance, has been restored. An adult Alex appears. He emerged in 1996, and history was changed. He is now married with a son named Andy and reveals he named his eldest daughter after Bethany in gratitude of saving his life before leaving Jumanji. The four start to become a group of close friends than they had ever been thanks to their time in Jumanji. Spencer and Fridge reconcile. Bethany becomes a more empathic person and makes plans to go backpacking from her experiences in the game, and Martha starts dating Spencer. The four then hear Jumanji drumbeats and prevent history from repeating itself by taking the game behind the school, where Fridge smashes it with the rhino bowling ball they found in detention. Like the 1995 predecessor, before the film draws to a close, Jumanji emits its drums once more, indicating the game will return to be played another day. If you're loving the thrill of this Jumanji, welcome to the jungle adventure. Show some love, hit that like button, share the excitement with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome movie